Hello and welcome to the Rose System. My name is Sarah and today we are looking at a part of our journey. We are sharing this because we believe it may help someone to realize that they are not alone in their experiences. So today we are looking at how we went from a high-functioning person to a low-functioning person. Just a heads up, when I say I in this video, I am speaking from my perspective as Sarah. When I say we, I am talking about the system as a whole. A trigger warning, brief mentions of suicidal ideation, self-harm, and I do use sarcasm when addressing some of the darker topics. Let's get into it. Growing up, I was oblivious to the fact that I was mentally ill. I knew I had been through some singular different events, but I was unaware of the long-term trauma that the body was going through. My oldest form to help keep me unaware and to help me pass as though everything was alright. As far as I was concerned, everything was alright, minus the fact that it was easy to upset or scare me. But surely that was just because I was a sensitive child. Someone looking at my life currently, who has no clue what's happening under the surface, would say I peaked in high school, then crashed and burned not long into my university years. What they would not see is the unraveling as trauma memories escaped into my consciousness, that the childhood need to be perfect was no longer attainable, the adult world ripping me of the remaining innocence that I had. So yes, I would be classified as a high school star who failed when it came to the real world. But the picture is so much deeper than that. Up until year 6, I was a mediocre student, nothing above or below a C. I was passing, but I wasn't academically inclined. I played piano and violin for a bit before settling on the flute at the age of 9. We moved away from that school in between years 5 and 6. The new school was very different. I went from being an invisible student with mediocre grades to being a student who got A's and B's in all subjects. I went from being an okay speller to being the best speller in my class, despite having grave self-doubt on my ability to spell. Year 6 was the year my academic abilities grew. Year 7 was the beginning of high school. I was second in the grade for mathematics. I was in the extension program for all the core subjects. I received fantastic marks in all of my subjects, even the ones I was not good in. Then we moved again. At this new school, I was still in the extension classes, though not as close to the top. I got back into a music program and became one of the better flute players in the school. I represented my school in cross country. I was in school plays and musicals. My extracurricular activities included music, drama and youth group. I had a taxing and difficult job. Whatever I put my mind to, I succeeded in. I graduated in the 95th percentile of the state I was in. And all of this was done with DID, anxiety, PTSD and depression all sitting under the surface. As far as I was aware, I was healthy, except for the seasons where I was suicidal. But everyone goes through that phase. Surely there wasn't actually anything wrong with me. I believed I was healthy, but I was unhappy. I performed so well in high school that no one thought they needed to check in and see how I was actually doing. I do not remember most of my high school years' trauma, but what I do remember was enough to know that I had every reason not to be okay. But no one knew. It was a secret. I couldn't tell anyone. I wasn't mentally ill. I couldn't be. I was the healthy one supporting others who were mentally ill. I was the therapist friend who would listen and not be impacted by what I was told. I helped my friends through panic attacks. I helped my friends with their assignments and homework. No, I was too high functioning for anyone to consider, myself included, that maybe I was ill too. Then university came. I did super well in my first year. Then second year came about. For the first time in my life, I failed a subject. Not only did I fail one subject, I failed two. This was the stressor that brought about my mental health collapse. I went from being a great student to a failure over a single semester at uni. My unknown and hidden trauma taught me I had to be the best, because if I wasn't, I was replaceable. And if I was replaceable, I was worthless. So my mental health began to collapse. My anxiety shot through the roof. I was having multiple full-blown panic attacks per day. To cope, I started self-harming. I started experiencing the body memories that had been hidden from me. I started to dissociate a lot more heavily, but I didn't know that wasn't normal. It got worse so quickly. I started having non-epileptic seizures that occurred when I would have flashbacks. My grades slipped, I couldn't keep up with a full-time load, and my ability to look after myself vanished. But I kept pushing. I couldn't stop. There was and is too much at stake to stop. My seizures got to the point where I was taken to the hospital. This meant I started on an antidepressant. It helped, but not anywhere near as much as it should have. Simultaneously, a major trauma was occurring. It ripped the last shred of capability I had away from me. I burnt out. I had to stop uni or it would have killed me. I had to stop everything. I could no longer study. I had to stop helping at church. I struggled to keep up with work and eventually lost my job. I had no clue why this was happening. As far as I was aware, nothing I had been through actually classified as trauma. None of it was that bad. But once again, most of the memories, and definitely the worst of the memories, were not mine to remember. Those looking in thought I was lazy, that I just wasn't trying. Those who actually had insight were horrified at how bad it got. They were horrified at how quickly it all went downhill. God, in His goodness, provided a therapist who I could work with and who is suited to my needs. She has been working with me since. Through therapy, discovering my alters and taking a year off to begin recovering, I was able to start going back to uni. I started with one subject, then worked my way up to two. A couple of years later, I am still working with only two subjects. I do not have the capacity to increase to three. Now I am studying part-time and managing to upload to YouTube about what life is like as a Christian living with a complex mental situation. I am making huge progress with understanding how my brain functions and scratching the surface of the depths of my trauma. In just the past week, we have had major breakthroughs in two major traumas. God has been good throughout this journey. He has provided me with a brain that handles stress in a unique way. He provided me with a brain that shielded me from the reality of what I was going through so I could get through my high school years. God has provided safety now in my adult life so that my trauma can now be processed. God has blessed me with each altar who has a role in keeping us functioning. It has been a long journey to us working together like we do now. It will be a long journey until we are functioning at the level we used to. We may never reach that functionality again. That looks like it is a thing of the past. But God has been faithful through it all. He has blessed me with an incredible life partner who is supporting me as new information comes to light. He has provided me someone who I'm able to meet the needs of and who loves each and every altar who lives within this body. Just because you went from high functioning to low functioning doesn't make you any less of a person. No matter the reason for this, it doesn't make you any less of a person. You are still valuable and priceless in the sight of God. He still and always will want you. He has shown time and time again that he wants the broken and the hurt to know his love. Despite the fact that we cannot live life to the same extent as those around us, does not mean that we're any less deserving of love and care. Each person has a different capacity, but that does not mean that you are any less of a human. It just means that you shine your light in a different way. So if you are struggling with the fact that you are working at a much slower rate than you used to, know you are not alone. There is a chance that you're not low functioning, but huge amounts of your function are being taken up by invisible tasks. A huge part of our mental energy goes into processing our trauma and working better as a team. When we were in high school, we were working with the process of burying and hiding any sign of our trauma. Now we are confronting it, and that takes a lot more effort than shoving it to the side. Despite this, we know we can depend on God to orchestrate our life. He has provided hope for the future and a dependence upon Him. It is hard, but you can trust Him to help you. We hope that by sharing this side of our story, that you will know that you are still precious in the sight of God. He has got you, just as much as He's got us. He works through and in the pain and suffering that this life presents. You are not alone. So many people face early burnout. We hope this video has helped you. Please subscribe if it has. Please know you are loved by the incredible God of the universe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.